a more serious crime than murder.
We could probably say safely he may have not had anything to do with her murder.
Yeah, I think
This is gonna age very badly.
in today's special episode.
Ooh, you put some shit in her hair? Looks nice.
You put some shit in your hair.
That's a great way to compliment a guy.
Whoa.
Do you guys remember this theme song?
What's this song? Oh yeah, that sounds good.
Did any of you guys listen to Serial?
Oh, I can't play too much.
Cut it before we get blocked.
I listened to the whole thing on a road trip and it was fucking sick.
It's dope, isn't it?
There's part 2 too, right?
The lady that does it, Sarah Koenig or whatever, she's legit.
right.
Her voice is very good for that.
So today we are talking about the main story that Serial blew up with. It's called it's called Serial, but the guy is Adnan Syed. There's very, very recent news that has just come out after this very, very huge and iconic story.
Is it DNA?
He did it. He didn't do it.
No, all it is that he has been released from prison.
Can you give the summary on what's going on? So as a summary, there's a Korean chick that disappeared and got murdered. He is the #1 suspect.
They were in high school. They were boyfriend and girlfriend.
And then, but we don't know what the actual evidence is, and he's been locked up the whole time.
I'll give everybody about 2.5 minutes of real explanation real quick, okay?
It's worth it.
This chick's name is Hae Min Lee. She was last seen at about 3 p.m. on January 13th, 1999. Her family reported the 18-year-old high school student missing after she failed to pick up her niece. Lee's body was found partially buried 4 weeks later in Leakin Park, West Baltimore. She had been strangled. Police arrested Syed, Lee's ex-boyfriend, on March 1st. The pair both attended Woodlawn High School and had dated previous year. Okay, according to court records, Lee had ended the relationship in December that year. Syed was 17 when he was arrested, but was charged as an adult with first-degree murder.
Damn.
Prosecutors said Syed had killed Lee after becoming upset when she started dating someone else. Syed pled not guilty and his first trial ended in a mistrial, but in February 2000 he was convicted of first-degree murder and kidnapping and sentenced to life plus 30 years in prison.
Wow.
He has always maintained his innocence, and 14 years later the podcast Serial brought renewed focus on Lee's murder. The case against Syed was largely based on the story of one witness, Adnan's friend Jay, who testified that he helped Adnan bury Hae's body.
What the fuck?
But Adnan had always maintained he had nothing to do with Hae's death. Some people believe he's telling the truth, many others don't. Across 12 episodes of Serial, the presenter and journalist behind the podcast, Sarah Koenig, a former reporter for the Baltimore Sun, who also worked on the podcast This American Life, trawled through thousands of documents and talked to everyone she could find who knew Syed and Lee at the time of Lee's death. Koenig found that there was scant forensic evidence linking Syed to Lee's murder and that witnesses had changed their statements to the police.
Whoa.
Questions were also raised about the competence of Syed's lawyer and the veracity of the evidence provided by Jay Wilds, the prosecution's key witness. According to Wilds' testimony, Syed told him he had killed Lee and asked Wilds to help bury the body, but Wilds' story changed across his interviews with police and his timeline did not match call logs and cell phone tower pings.
So Wild is they're saying is the killer?
A witness to the prosecution.
He's the one that's saying I helped bury the body.
He was the weed dealer.
Yeah.
That was like their connection.
Is that motherfucker in jail?
No, I don't think so.
The fuck?
I think because he gave up evidence and stuff like that, he was able to.
So he was never in jail.
I believe Wild.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
Motherfucker.
the podcast did not come to a firm conclusion as to Syed's innocence or guilt, but Koenig felt there was not enough evidence to have him convicted.
Yeah, for life too.
Exactly. So there wasn't so much of a firm conclusion for the podcast. However, what is it? 23 years later, where are we at right now?
What's the motive?
Yeah.
Many years later.
23 years later.
He's now 41 years old. And Baltimore judge Melissa Finn ruled on this past Monday, September 19th, to release the now 41-year-old after prosecutors filed a motion to have his sentence vacated.
Wow.
So basically what had happened, this is a lot of information, but just want to get it out.
He spent 23 years in jail on conclusive evidence, which is nuts.
What?
So the crazy part, or what brings him out today, is not that they're sure whether or not he did or did not commit it, but rather it's because in making the decision to release Syed from prison, they relied on the extensive review of the case by prosecutors in Maryland, showing, among other things, that authorities knew of at least 2 alternative suspects besides Syed in the 99 murder of Hae Min Lee, the ex-girlfriend of his, but the prosecutors kept information about alternative suspects from defense attorneys.
Wow.
Because they're like, we want an open shut case.
So it's on a little bit of a mild mistrial, basically.
Basically, yeah.
I wonder who the other suspects were.
So now they have 30 days to decide whether to proceed with a new trial or drop the charges against Syed, who has long maintained his innocence.
Wow, that's fucked up.
That's interesting that while they figure that out, they're letting him free.
Yeah, because he hasn't technically truly been convicted of the crime.
Because the evidence is still not strong enough.
Do you guys think he did it?
Well, now I don't.
As guys that you guys have already known this story pretty well, does the general population think that he really did it?
I think it's a big split because the podcast does a good job of like
Being neutral?
both sides. Yeah, playing both sides of the story. Because one of the main things that everybody was like, this is kind of weird, was obviously he was the ex-boyfriend, right? He's always the suspect. And then they would ask him like, "What'd you do today?" And he goes, "I don't remember." Like the day that she was gone, he kept saying like, "I don't know what I did."
He doesn't have like a fucking payment stub of anything he like.
Nothing.
What would be the motive?
Because she was dating somebody else. But I think after you listen to it, I remember feeling like I don't think he did it, or it was more of like I don't think there's enough evidence to say that he committed this crime without a doubt. But then when you hear that there was two other suspects that they didn't really vet out because they really want to get this kid for whatever reason.
Because that's the easy one to do.
Yeah, then it's the eyebrow raise, and then you're like, dude, they could have potentially fucked up this dude's whole life just because they weren't doing their due diligence, right? And you hear it probably all the time, so it's kind of interesting. But what'd you think after you?
What about the guy that told him I helped him bury her?
Well, maybe he lied or something.
That's what they kind of play him as. Like they kind of hype him up as like some dude that was not really trustworthy, kind of all over the place. Because they get like character testimony from all their friends and people that knew him, and they were all like, yeah, he was kind of a weird dude. Like I don't really know what his deal was. He was kind of quiet. He was like really mysterious, so no one really knew what his true motives were.
Isn't it messed up that like sometimes you could definitely do something, and then if you just not have enough evidence, you'll go free. But sometimes you did do something, and then if they can't convict you, that sucks.
Works both ways,
Both ways. That's
There's that one HBO show that's kind of similar to this.
The Night Of.
A Night Of,
Yeah.
where it kind of like, it's kind of crazy seeing a visual aspect of it, where you're like, sometimes you just do have a crazy night. And I think the main part of the podcast, I think in the beginning, they were really like trying to pressure the dude. Like, what do you mean you don't know what happened? It just sounds guilty. But then if you actually like go through someone's life, like sometimes there are days you're just completely blurry. You're like, dude, what did I do that day? You know?
I don't even know sometimes what happened yesterday.
The only way I know what I did is if I look at my credit statement and go, oh, I bought fucking Ono Hawaiian barbecue. And
you're
that's
like,
all I know.
That was some real good Kalbi beef ribs.
And then I relive the taste.
And to confirm, Wilds pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact to first-degree murder, but got no prison time after testifying against Syed.
See, so that's you got to raise an eye.
Okay, yeah, I understand that.
So you're saying you helped kill somebody and like bury a body, but then
big
nothing
saying.
happens?
Yeah, that's a big
because
saying.
you're testifying against this guy.
And that guy's supposed to be Adnan's buddy?
He was the weed dealer, I believe.
The fuck he's fucking...
So he's got more ties to criminal activity than...
They need to fucking kill that motherfucker for ratting.
A more serious crime than murder.
Fuck that motherfucker, man. Fucking ratting ass.
What makes this case also so obviously it's complicated. It's very torn between what people believe, but I think the fact that people even have a belief factor is a first of its kind. Serial was the first of its kind for like the true crime.
It was so good, dude.
Right, it got like 68 million plus downloads. It was the first time that like a podcast would blow to that type of proportion, and it was about like something that was considered not an ongoing case, but like it was a real life thing. It's not like some dead person's story. It was like this guy's sitting in jail now.
Still continuing.
So it built this entire like public, this new genre category of both entertainment and weirdness, because you're almost capitalizing off of like victims or potential victims that are incarcerated. But you know, it was just a huge thing that the world just really got behind. It brought mass attention. So many eyes, so many people are now scrutinizing the judicial system. It was kind of a first of its kind.
It was like a case study.
I heard that like families of the people in these podcasts really don't like it because it makes them have to relive.
Yeah.
Oh, the Lee family has
They'll
expressly
be
said
stuck.
that this is
And then people are all
serial
weighing
podcast
in on the
stuff.
murder of their loved one. That's pretty fucking hard.
You know what? On a positive note, can we just celebrate the racial interracial relationship.
Yeah, you're right.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, back in 1999.
Yeah, that's really hard back then.
Yeah, that's
He was
awesome.
Muslim and then she was Korean, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you take the potential murder part out, I think there's huge celebrations there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we could probably say safely he may have not had anything to do with her murder.
Yeah, I think
This is gonna age very badly.
Do we feel comfortable in saying that?
we could say maybe.
Feel comfortable?
I don't know. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, I
You're gonna stand this guy? All right.
got it.
That is also a thing, though, to like maintain your innocence when you've already been incarcerated for 23 years and you have life plus 30. It's not like you have the chance of parole in your head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know. You know, in that first 14 years before the Serial podcast came out, you don't know that there's an end to this. You're just convicted, yet you maintain innocence through that entirety. Yeah.
It sucks that we do know that detectives, for the most part, do go with the most efficient conviction they can get.
Yeah, they're just trying to add another score to their fucking.
But then
case.
also, it also sucks that an ex-boyfriend killing an ex-girlfriend because she's dating someone else is super common too.
Most
Like,
murders
that's
and
kind of-
all those things happen because of close people.
Crime of passion, yeah.
Did anyone ask if, since she's a Korean chick, she might have deserved what happened? Did anyone ask that? I'm just wondering. Just because Korean chicks are kind of drama. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Jesus
Your
Christ.
Honor, I want you to check out Exhibit A. She's
like-
Korean. And if you ever dated a Korean chick, you kind of get it. You know what I'm saying, Honor?
Groans, they go, oh.
I had,
That's how the jury got deadlocked.
I had
Jury's like, oh my God, I remember this Korean girl I dated in college. Woo!
I had like 2 Korean girlfriends, so I understand what
You're a great case.
Was it difficult? What happened?
I know what Adnan's going through.
Why was it? Why was it difficult? Why was it difficult?
Yeah, talk about it.
They're just
They're passionate people.
they're just so cinematic, you know.
Cinematic. So they're in this ratio of fucking white.
Everything's a one shot.
24 frames per second.
They're passionate people.
They're cinematic.
Married to a Korean woman.
Yeah.
Combat
oh,
this
yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah. What do
Talk
you
some
think?
shit back to this dude.
What do you think? What do you think?
Your Honor, I think he's completely wrong. I think humans are human.
You have a different experience. Oh, okay.
I think humans are humans.
Safe road.
I just tried to take the safe road, Bart. I apologize. I know I should have yes-handed it, but
Anthony, you had a Korean ex-girlfriend, didn't you?
I think that's the end of the video.
Oh, look, it's 12 minutes.